It's a very beautiful morning, and many thanks for joining us on our program on television this morning on ITV. The program that comes your way every Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and of course Friday, the Pidgin English of the same program. Good morning from Benin. We're going to be looking at the 2019 elections one more time, most especially that we have just about some few months to go. Now, if you've been following our news and of course some of our reports, you would have seen one or two political parties whereby political aspirants indicating interest and of course telling the electorates, also the delegates in these various parties, how they intend to carry on the mantle of leadership if elected as a president, as a senator, or even as a member of the House of Representatives. And the very big question that we first of all ask is, how are the delegates prepared to really see that they feel or they elect the best candidates that will emerge, that will become the candidates of the political parties that will contest for the 2019 election. Well, to discuss this morning, we are privileged to have Dr. Ken Mudugu. He's from the Department of Accounting, University of Benin here. And of course, we're also expecting Mr. Cliff Ohuango, who is also going to join us on this same program today. Dr. Ken, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Now, as the topic goes, the quest for the right candidates for the 2019 election. First and foremost, let's look at the delegates. What do you think should really form the major thing in the minds of the delegates as they go forward as they make preparation to elect, the candidates that represent these political parties?
All right, thank you very much. Let me use this medium to wish our Muslim brothers and sisters Eid Mubarak, and also to wish them that, inshallah, by this time next year, we shall again celebrate Eid, in tranquility and of course in peace.
I'm yet to get my ram.
Well, I'm not one, but I'm felicitating with them, and I think after this event, if you don't mind, we can of course go to a friend's place to celebrate.
All right, thanks for that invitation.
Now, having said that, back to your question. First and foremost, you ask me if I believe in the concept of delegation, vis-a-vis putting out candidates for the general elections. And I will tell you no. And then, just as I was planning to come to this place, I said, okay, let me look at some sections of the constitutions of the party. And I was able to quickly look at that of the APC. My network failed me when I was trying to get out of the PDP. These are the two major political parties. Of course, we have about 91 political parties that are registered according to INEC as we speak. Now, in Article 20, subsection 3 of that APC constitution, they said to have a candidate for the presidential seats, House of Reps, and all the positions that have been earmarked for contestation, you must either conduct direct primary or indirect primary. Now, the crafters of that constitution had ulterior motive, which they intended to use to hoodwink electorates.
No, but why do you think it has ulterior motive?
Oh, fine, that's how I'm coming. I'm coming. That is why, over time, they have always used the indirect primaries, and there have never been any brouhaha. And in the indirect primary, that is when the delegates issue arises, wherein only those who are in elective positions in the party, either elective or appointed positions, that can go and elect a candidate for a higher position. And what does that tell you? That means that a set of persons are responsible. To that extent, it will be easy to buy them over.
But I think
that is why you see there is sharing of money.
Dr. Ken, I think almost all the major parties, like the PDP, as a political party, also has this. I mean, they have this direct,
let me come. I understand. I'm going to come there. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it dispassionately. I have started with the APC.
Okay.
Now, that is in their constitution alone tells you that there is some form of internal democracy. The process is, somewhat democratized. Now, but my worry is that why will you have two alternatives? Why not just now? The APC national chairman has said that he will opt for the second one, which is the direct primaries. I'm not a fan of Adams Oshomole, but I'm in support. Why? In a direct primary, every card-carrying member is eligible to vote. You see, that further democratizes it in such a manner that it will be practically impossible, I stand to be corrected, for each candidate to bribe all the card-carrying members. But in the indirect primary, the governor can say, this is my candidate. That's why you have anointed candidates. Same goes for the PDP. Now, if all the parties, in the spirit of eternal democracy, decide to say, no, let us go by way of direct primary, so that the people can elect at that level who will represent them, and that will also galvanize the vote. Because if I know that I was instrumental to your emergence as a candidate of my party, nothing will put me back from not coming out in the general election to cast my vote for you. But when I know that the governors, the president, the senators were the ones that anointed a particular candidate, and delegates, of course, look at what is happening now. We're hearing from Bush Radio that the candidates that have come to Edo State to solicit support from electorates approach delegates, and they shared money. One shared more than the other.
Well, all those are allegations.
Yes, these are allegations. I'm saying, no,
yeah.
Listen, you see, we can sometimes we try to be very diplomatic when it comes to issues like this, but there are times we have to eschew diplomacy and face reality. It is not limited to a particular party. All parties are involved. The sharing of money is across party. So it has become those who can pay the lion's share, those who can pay more, get the people's mandate.
Okay, now let's go back to your concept of the direct delegates and the indirect delegates. Now, if I gather what you were trying to say, now the direct delegates has to do with all members.
All members, all card-carrying members of the party.
Why the indirect has to be with the ESCO executives?
Exactly. Those who are in appointive or elected positions.
But you will recall that even these indirect, candidates, these electorates now, I mean these delegates now, they were elected by, by the members of the party.
How did they emerge in the first instance? You see, sometimes in Nigeria, we're so particular about the outcome. Nobody looks at the process, and that's the problem we have. How did they emerge? They emerged because there was a task, or rather, there is a task to accomplish. Okay, now, does it not amuse you when there is party conventions, the way the hues and cries, the bloodletting that is characteristic of party, executive elections, for instance, executive of APC, executive of PDP, or National Working Committee. Look at what happened, recently, wherein they had chair throwing, bottles throwing, and all of that. Why? These are just party executives. Why should it be that bloody? Because of this task of delegation. Because at the end of the day, anybody who becomes a party secretary stands a chance to dictate to a presidential candidate that this is how much you must pay us for us to vote for you at the primary election.
The delegates.
Are you getting it? So it's all me ticket. So if you tell me that they were all elected, that's why I ask you, how did they emerge? Let's look at the process. See, there is no how a product can be better than its process. And in Nigeria, we are much more, like I said earlier, particular about the outcome. Nobody talks about the process that culminated in the production of the outcome. And that is where I hang my argument, that we should all allow democracy, true democracy, to reign at all levels of appointive or elective positions, such that it will ginger political participation. Because if I know that a credible candidate is feeded by my party, though I'm not in one, I would be interested in seeing it through, that particular candidate emerges. But if one godfather said, this is the governor's candidate, these are things you hear. This is the president's candidate. These are the lexicons that are characteristic of our political grammar. Okay. Now, the question is, if we allow this process to run the way it should run, I think it will be fair, it will create a level playing field for those who do not have the money, but have the integrity, resources.
That's the aspirants.
Exactly,
now. Yeah.
exactly. They may not have the financial wherewithal, but do they have a history of integrity, a history of accountability? Do they have character? If that is the case, let them go, because we know that when they get there, they will not be thinking of how to recover the money with which they bought the tickets. Okay. They'll be more focused on issues of national development.
Okay. Now, Dr. Ken, there is no way we can really talk about this topic today without, really trying to look at the delegates, themselves. Now, these delegates, do they really do the bid of the party? When I say the bid of the party, I mean, the interest of any political party is to make sure that elections are won. So when delegates begin to bother themselves with which aspirants can give them more money and all that, do you think they do the bid of the party?
You've answered the question yourself.
I just wanted to talk about
Yes, because like I said, I do not subscribe to it. What makes the delegates, in quote, superior to every other card-carrying member? After all, some of these so-called delegates were people who have taken privileged positions without recourse to those who actually contributed massively to rebuilding the party. Why? Because they have affiliations with the godfathers. They were anointed. And you discover that year in, year out, they leave one position, they go for another. They remember the electorates, the card-carrying members, when it is time to cast their votes, when they need their votes. For heaven's sake, if I am a card-carrying member of a political party, and my party is to nominate a candidate to contest an election, don't I have an input? Or rather, shouldn't I have an input? Oh, my party membership is only restricted to casting vote at general election. And I said no. And that's why I was very happy that it is written in black and white in the constitution of at least a political party that I have seen. Now, look at it. The APC national chairman, like I said, I'm not his fan, has opted for the direct primaries. And the governors are opposed to it. Why? Because the government have made some promises to some persons. They've anointed some persons. So, I would have, however, and the APC national chairman has its challenges, because if you look at it, the way he goes about it, I don't think it's democratic.
So
what he will need to do, I can tell you that for free. What he will need to do is fine. I would love direct primaries to take place. However, the National World Committee, let us sit down and resolve so that it becomes a party decision. So the idea of the national chairman says, because what I'm saying so is that because now we should realize that if we don't get the process right at the moment, it will spell doom for the nation. Let's call a spade, because the tempo appears to be down. Now, as we gradually approach the general elections, the music will change. I'm telling you this for free. The music will change. So earlier we begin to caution these political, activists. The better for you and I, because now it may not concern you. If the country is thrown into, a war zone which we don't pray for, we won't sit here and discuss it. So that is why I'm saying, if we want to discuss issues, because I have come here on several occasions to speak on certain issues and caution, and these advice are not bought, and eventually it snowballs into something much more hazardous for us as a people, and of course for the nation.
Are you trying to say that the outcome of some of these primaries, as they are going to come very soon, is that we're going to see more defections?
Of course, if not more bloodletting, and of course more litigations. And that is what we've had it in the past. You can go back, memory lane. We have it in the past, where some people have been, elected, so to speak, and they have court reversed the decision and say, no, you were not the validly elected candidate of the party, and it's given to the person who has challenged such decisions. So I think more than just thinking that the delegate thing should be the final arbiter to decide who comes up for elected position, I think it should be democratized. And one of such ways to have it completely democratized is to have every genuine card-carrying member of the political party to have an input in who becomes the party's candidate. And with this,
but don't you think that that may have its own problems, its own issues?
Like what?
Take, for example, I mean, a candidate, an aspirant that needs to be voted for by the direct, primaries.
Yes.
I mean, good or bad, you are going to provide transport, or the party is going to provide transport for all card-carrying members of the party. So is this not going to have some of its problems?
You see, that is where we get it wrong. And that is why we all say that the Nigeria version of democracy is very expensive. As a card-carrying member, first and foremost, you are supposed to contribute financially to the running of the party. What makes you a party member?
Yeah, but
in the Nigerian situation, the delegates, so to speak, are expecting to serve from the party and the aspirants, which is wrong. So what does it cost for a cause you believe in? If you are truly altruistic and you are a faithful and loyal party member, as the politicians will put it, what stops you from paying your transportation fare or conveying yourself to the venue, even feed yourself? If we're talking about loyalty, you see, that is until we begin to look at issues in this manner, we will never get there. We have to be true to ourselves that if you are committed to the ideals of your party, if you truly believe in your party and you bear the emblem of your party, you should be able to contribute financially and otherwise to the building and sustenance of that party. These are my thoughts.
Okay, all right, viewers out there, the program is still This Morning on ITV, and of course our focus is looking at the quest for the right candidates as political aspirants signify interest for the forthcoming election. Of course, Dr. Ken Modigo is with us. Modigo is with us here, and we're expecting Mr. Clifford Umwago. Now, Dr. Ken, let's look at some of acclaimed or alleged inputs of party chieftains, party executives, making statements that are alleged to suggest that they kind of support one or two aspirants.
And you cannot rule out that fact. There are bound to be horse trading. There are bound to be some politics at the party level. But there's nothing wrong with that. If 3, 4, 5 persons are going for one particular position, it's obvious that only one person will emerge the winner. Now, it depends on what that person puts on table. Some people will put money on the table. Others will put ideas on the table. But what I will not subscribe to is a situation whereby people place premium on money instead of ideas. There's nothing wrong with that. So if I'm such a political party, I will canvass votes and support for that person whose ideas align with mine.
But at times,
not who has the financial war chest.
But because at times we even see some of these party chieftains tend to support those aspirants that have more money to give.
That will be eroded if you democratize it through direct primaries. We are still circumnavigating. We are going around. Democratize it. It's as simple as that. So let me see how much you have and how you can possibly gather all these persons and begin to share certain amount of money to convince them. Then if it is narrowed down into a delegate thing, definitely the delegate will be housed in a hotel and given a negative orientation. Of course, the delegates themselves are aware. I could remember some of my former students who were delegates in the last election. And they told me, oh, come on, guy, I want to go and get my own share. Unfortunately, and they got their own share. They were housed in a hotel, that there is a directive from Oga that this is the person we are voting for. And they said, is that true? He said, okay, to tell you that Oga is in support of this is your own package. This is your own package. Come and share that to a larger audience of the party. it's not possible, but it is near impossibility to have that done. So if you have problem with, money bags or vote buying that is now very rife in our political system, you just democratize it, and the deal is done. I'm not saying it will completely erode it, but significantly, as time to be corrected, it will stem the tide of money politics that is in our system today.
Okay. Now, INEC has registered 91 political parties that are going to be parts of the forthcoming election. And the two major parties, as it stands now, are the PDP and the APC. Now, can we see the possibility of having somebody that can answer the big question, the leadership question in Nigeria in any of these parties other than the PDP and the APC?
All right. This is my personal opinion, not the opinion of this station. And I think I'm free as a Nigerian to express a personal opinion.
Of course, we can have your
yes,
opinion.
And I stand to be contradicted by any superior argument. I have watched the candidates, or rather the aspirants from these so-called dominant parties, APC and PDP. With all due respect, with all humility, I see nobody there.
That's your own opinion?
That is my opinion. If that was the background, because I know the statement can be challenged. But if you must challenge this statement, then let us engage in an intellectual debate. But come on, are we suffering from political amnesia? And I said, no, Nigerians are very intelligent people. I don't want to mention names, you know them. What do they have to put on board? Look at the candidates coming to Benin City and going around all parts of the country to seek elections. When they were there, what did they do? No, ask yourself basic questions. It's not rocket science. You don't need a Jeremiah or an Elijah to tell you that these persons have nothing to offer. Look at the recent decamping here and there. Tell me one decamping that is anchored on because my people don't benefit A, B, C. I hereby decamp from party A to party B. Mention one person, sir, that has given that as a basis for his defecting from one political party to another.
Yeah, but they
are decamping because they are in search of party tickets. Yeah, but some party leadership are saying, no, we are not going to give you these tickets.
Yeah, Dr. Ken, but some of the decampees told us that they consulted with their constituents.
They consulted with who? I saw one of the governors who said, should I go to Abuja? No. Should I not go? No. Okay, let's go. Immediately, in quick succession, a speech to decamp came up. Come on. How intelligent is he to seek, you were head hostage on the road not to go to Abuja. Suddenly you took a U-turn, you got to the office, the report of how many pages just came out and you were reading. When did he consult? Somebody who was going to Abuja to attend a party. You see, these are issues. They have nothing to offer. I would advise Nigerians to focus on the new political parties with ideologies. We have young men now and young women who are vying for this position. Mind you, I hear people say not too young to run. There are young idiots, with all apology to the young, but I'm a young man. There are young idiots.
No, we can't.
It's not sufficient. We are, because they are the ones snatching ballot boxes.
Yeah, Dr. Ken, we don't
you see this problem I have. Listen. My brother, listen. I'm fortunate to have left the country and see how things are done. The problem we have is that will to tell ourselves the truth. I know diplomacy, and I know when diplomacy is to be applied, and I know when we should speak it raw, the way it is. Because we have taken certain things with kid gloves. That is why we are here today. Look at this security problem. It was politicized originally because we don't want to call it the name that belongs to it. We called it all sorts of names using all sorts of appellations. Now here we are today. So the point I'm trying to make is that if young persons must run, they should be young persons with character.
Okay, now if you so subscribe to the fact that your own opinion is that the two major parties, you don't see the answer to the problem.
Of course, they don't have it.
Now, the issue is that some of these new parties are not even known. Take, for example, some parties that have said that they don't even have secretariats in some states. So how do we begin to know them? How do we begin to appreciate them?
Do you need noise to make news? The answer is no. Well, your definition of not being known is relative.
Yeah, but some are very conspicuous. I mean, we don't even see the secretariat of some of them.
Now let the race begin. It is you and I that will make them known, or the electorates.
Are you saying the race has not started now?
The race has begun. I agree. It is the electorates that will make them known. That's why I told you that it is not enough to say, I am a young man, vote for me. You have to do what politicians do. The good things they do, what is morally right to contest for an election. And i.e., you must be able to leave your comfort zone and sell yourself to the people. Now, most times when we say they are not known, let me tell you the context within which it is said. They are not known because they have not distributed money. They don't have long convoys. They don't have the resources to so do. And that is why they come up to say, you know, we have young people, for instance, who I don't want to mention name again because you have cautioned that we should be diplomatic. And so that it will not amount to me campaigning for any of the candidates. But we have young persons now who have taken to other media, you know, to let people know. So social media is there. And the people are aware of who they are. And when the time is right, and I think they will be more conspicuous than they are now. But to believe that the only party to beat are the PDP and the APC, I beg to differ. And they will be shocked this time around. I can tell you that for free. They will be bemused by what the political tsunami that will hit these two parties that are largely responsible for the prevailing economic and political decrepitude that has ravaged this country to where we are.
Now,
so I think
you are not to say it so. It is the election that.
That's what I'm saying. It is the electorate.
The election will come and it.
Yes, so because the electorates will decide. There is no market. There is no different market. The electorates go to the market. They know what it was and what it is now. They know what it has been. So if they want to remain in this penury, it's up to them. It's up to them. I tell the people, and I was talking to a colleague recently, you know, about the president of America. He said, the guy is very brutal. The guy is. I said, well, Donald Trump promised the Americans what he would do for them. And on the basis of that, the Americans voted for him. Even if he told the Americans that if I become president of the United States of America, I'm going to kill you. And they voted for him, and he's truly killing them. He's the best president. Why? He's keeping his promises. He told the Americans, come, I will make you great again. Of course, he didn't hide his white supremacist ideology. And that's what the Americans want. That the world belongs to us. We are supreme. And all his policies thus far are in tandem with his political campaigns.
Now, Dr. Ken, so, from the way you've been speaking, it appears you have so much faith, you know, on the electorate.
Of course I do, because they determine who becomes.
Is it not the electorate that sometimes, somehow, some are being accused that they collect money?
Yes, vote buying. Because they have been pauperized by this same political class, to the extent that the majority of them resort to vote buying. That is where that orientation comes up. You've collected money before, you collected 2,000, 3,000, and you prepared a pot of soup. And after the election, you are back to square zero. Now, it's not incumbent upon the electorate to choose. So between accepting...
Are you saying that the electorate are going to do it differently?
I hope they do. That is why we have to intensify efforts to educating the electorate. Yeah, I believe so much in that because who else makes anybody win election if it's not the electorate?
So, Dr. Kerr, the recent elections, as it was alleged, did not really show that the electorates have really changed. Now, allegations that they still collect money from...
If they have not changed, if they have chosen not to change, then they should not expect any miracle.
Okay. Well, we'll take a short pause now. The program is still this morning on ITV. I did tell you that we're expecting Mr. Cliff Wango, who is also going to be part of this program today. Please stay tuned.
TMI, every opinion counts.
All right, now the program is still this morning on ITV on independent television. Joining us is Mr. Cliff Wango. I still have Dr. Ken here. You know, still dissecting some of the issues. Mr. Cliff, you're welcome to this program.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Let me just come to you now. As the topic suggests, 2019 election, you know, looking at how to get the right candidates for the election across the political parties. Now, where do you think we begin to start from? I mean, when we look at that topic.
Well, this is a very vital topic that all Nigerians need to look inward credibly to make sure each political party is able to present to the public an aspirant who will be sellable and well acceptable to the public. Number one, what I want to say is we need to look at the credibility of any aspirant before you make a person a candidate. Credibility in the sense that the person should be able to at least might have done one or two things in the past that will be able to say, okay, yes, such a person will be able to defend the nation and take us to greater heights. Just that was the way we want it as Nigerians. Then, sir, we also need to look at the background of such a person. As most people don't, they think such things don't matter, but it matters because if a person who is not able to affect his immediate environment, for example, you have a family and are able to affect your family positively. Your family, how well have you managed your family? It matters a lot. When people don't see this, you know, okay, now you're not able to manage your family, you want to come and manage over 1 million family put together. Nigeria are over 1 million people, you know. So such a political party should be able to look at aspirants who are credible enough. You look at the background, okay, such a person you want to contest, where have you worked? We have been able to attain this knowledge. Where have you served before now? Okay, you have this money. Where did you get money from? You are using the contest today. Who are your sponsors? What do you expect to get what do you expect to get in return? So these are the things that we all need to do. Acceptability of the public. The public need to accept any person that is coming from a political party. You see political party today, most of them, they say what we call leaders. Leaders have chosen the person, leaders have done this, leaders have done that. This is not acceptable to the general public. What if leaders have been able to accept such a person and the public don't find it acceptable to them? It is very difficult to sell to the public. So we should be able to look at aspirants who are sellable to the public, aspirants who are well to do from the very onset. These are things that Nigerians want to look out for, and these are things that will even make it much give the party less work to do. You understand? So that's why, with all due respect, I want to commend the present leadership of the All Progressive Congress for them, because they are able to adopt what we call direct primary. Direct primary is in the sense that you involve all party members. You know, one thing is that if you are not able, if the party members they are not able to accept a candidate or an aspirant to become a candidate, then it cannot be acceptable to the general public. Understand?
Are you saying, is it the APC that is adopting that, or the chairman of APC?
Well, when you say the chairman of APC, this is the head of the national working committee.
But that appears not to be going down. I mean, we're told that some governors in the APC are not taken lightly to that.
Well, so far, what I've heard and what I've seen so far, probably the by-election that have been conducted so far, you know, you see them, you see the high primary ongoing, and the new national chairman, which Comrade Adams Oshiomhole have come on air to say the high primary is what is the way forward for the All Progressive Congress. This, me, I see it as a way forward, because gone are those days where youths go on streets to the airport to welcome a particular candidate to start, because most people don't know that we can actually be part of this of the process, the beginning of the process of making forth a better candidate for the political party, or what I mean to say. So it is better that instead of us to go there to start welcoming the various aspirants for political party, let's get involved. Let's get involved and make sure we are part of the process and the beginning of it. The process means from the primary. From the primary, if you're able to pick this person, you'll be able to vote for us. Because if you see today, the public the people, they are what decide election. Political parties these days, they don't decide most times. No, not everybody are a member of political party.
Okay, now, Dr. Ken, let me come to you, back to the statements that are being credited to National Chairman now, that he's of the opinion that the primary should be a direct, primary. All card-carrying members of the APC should come up. The PDP has not come up to tell us how they are going to conduct their primaries. But let me come to you on that issue. Now, do you think that Adams Oshiomhole may have said that in good faith? I mean, considering what some people say seems to be the misunderstanding in the APC. that the present structure of the leadership structure of the APC does not favor some members of the APC. Now, if it's now going to be a direct primary, that is all card-carrying members of APC to go for the primaries, is that said in a good faith? In good faith?
Well, you've asked a very topical question, and I want to believe that you wouldn't hunt me down when I'm looking at the issues.
But you have to play by my rules.
Of course, you know I'm not a politician, so I tell you to them the way it is. I don't need their support for anything. Now, in response to your question, you see, as a leader, you are a leader over a people. Now, if you are conversant with the narratives and, of course, what is being displayed on television, you will discover that it's about the national chairman says. The national chairman says, not the national working committee has resolved.
Yeah, but the national chairman is the head of the national working committee.
You are a head. It's primus inter pares. First among equals. You see, this is why we as Nigerians have a version of democracy that is different from what we inherited.
Yeah, but how come if the National Working Committee members are not in tandem with whatever the chairman says, how come we don't get reactions?
Who told you there are no reactions? Who should communicate the outcome of the National Working Committee? There's a publicity secretary. Now, what the national chairman has done, like I said, I'm just being very, very fair, is that he should allow the instruments of the party to work. Now, if, for instance, a meeting was held, of course, he is the one to superintend over such meeting. A communique is issued and circulated to all state party chairmen to again call their own meeting and it will come down to what level? The National Working Committee has resolved that there should be direct primaries. The state governors will not have to kick against it at that level. But what you have is, like I told you, is doing the right thing in the wrong way. In these forthcoming primaries, I want direct primaries. Come on. Is that in the Constitution? He's not doing the wrong thing. Please get it right. He's not doing the wrong thing. But you can do a right thing in a wrong way. It should involve the party members, because he himself trying to kick against candidate opposition is surreptitiously engendering it by not being democratic himself. It's simple. Get the people together. When they say, oh, Comrade Oshomole says he wants, say, no, I didn't want. The National Working Committee resolved that because of the, bad experiences of the past, we have learned from our mistakes, we have resorted. After all, it is clear in the Constitution, like I said, Article 20, Section 3, that they shall adopt either the direct or the indirect primary. It's there in their Constitution. So, all the while, they've adopted the indirect primary, and that is where monies have exchanged hands very freely. Yeah. Now, with the indirect primary, I think it will fit better, not just for the APC,
Dr. Ken,
but for all the political parties.
Let me quickly ask this question, because I remember sometime in 2012, Edo State had governorship election, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this issue of direct primaries came up by the same APC, and it was suggested that, okay, the primaries should be direct primaries. Yeah. All card-carrying members of APC should go and choose the candidates. Yeah. Now, this issue of you are a legal member, you are not a legal member came up. And of course, that was when we heard that some people were delisted from registers. So at the end of the day, the purpose was really not attained.
All right, that the process has been corrupted does not overrule the fact that it still remains the best option. If they are telling us that they do not have a dossier of their members, to me, to say the least, for want of a better word, is foolhardy. You should know who are your members. There should be a register of members of a political party, and when they didn't realize it, such register should be updated. Again, that tells you the corruption in the system, wherein some persons will have their cards issued with their card number issued, but when you go to the register, you can't find them. What stops this thing from being automated? What does it take to have the register, of members online? You enter your password and you access your membership. So no, it's not rocket science. We tend to mystify very simple things. Don't have a register and keep it in the chairman's house. No, put it online.
Can that be guaranteed? I mean,
it can't be guaranteed. How many are the members of the party?
With the fact that we have, systems being hacked into.
Come on, this is funny. Who should hack it if those who should pretend over it are genuine in their intentions? That's what I'm saying. There should be sincerity. There should be true internal democracy. There should be sincerity of purpose. Those who have been elected and given that responsibility should do it with utmost good faith. Because if people have reposed confidence in you and they've given you this responsibility to manage the affairs of the party. So hacking should arise in the first instance, in my very candid opinion. So if you have a list of members all uploaded into the cloud and every member can access his status, then they would not think like, oh, some pages were torn off or rat ate some pages. But what happens here is everything is so done very crudely. You see very small countries are using technology to do very very good things. But here we are still believing that the analog way of doing things should remain. Okay. Why? Because there is an ulterior motive to circumvent the system. That is why they have insisted that that system persists. Okay.
Now, Cliff Ohuango, before you came, we were trying to look at a kind of a scenario in our political setting. Whereby before primaries you have aspirants that pay the financial disposition of political parties. Of course, chieftains of such parties won't have their own say because the aspirants, they pay all the bills of the party. Now, this seems to be a situation in our politics. That is the reason why at times that you have that political chieftains openly, they even campaign for aspirants. So how can we come against some of these problems?
Well, first and foremost, I want to correct my nomenclature. I'm Chris.
Not Cliff.
Not Cliff.
All right. I was told Cliff, and I thought you also said Cliff. All right, Chris.
Well, talking about the financial inducements you're talking about now. Well, just like I've said earlier before, I said
not financial inducement, so to say, but it's related to it. But what we are saying is that the financial strength of such parties lies in the hands of aspirants. So you discover that without these aspirants, those parties cannot stand. And that's the reason why that these parties, their chieftains, they tend to campaign for some of these aspirants. It's a problem. At the end of the day, we cannot have direct primaries, as it were. This is an issue. So how can we come against that?
Well, if we, for example, just like we have some incumbent members who are still vying to contest, even though I believe some of them they've not done well, they still want to contest. This is where we, as this is where the political party members, they have to come in. You understand? If somebody who have performed for, you have left somebody for 4 years and he has performed and he has failed the public, he cannot come because that's the more reason why today you see that I will keep applauding the issue of direct primary that have just come aboard now, because it's only this direct primary that will be able to tackle that very great menace.
Mind you, it's just a suggestion. Anyway, it's not as if we are yet to hear the list of things.
The suggestion must be first applauded.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's a good one per se. I must tell you the truth. Yes, and sometimes you see that this direct primary, it seems not to be working out. They have what we call a consensus too. This consensus has done a lot of great damage to most political party. Consensus where some leaders will just come around and say, okay, this is it, and this is what we are talking about now, because the person has money, the particular aspirant has money to throw out, now against the wish of the other political members. Before you know, they go close door and they are able to meet some consensus and they pick up that aspirant. The way forward to this, with all due respect, is that we as a people, we need to remove this monetary election away from our mind. If we as people, we are able to cleanse our mind off that corruption, then why can't we push out those people who have the buoyant money and yet they are not doing well? They just want to come and use the political party and the chieftains or the party with money. So this note, I wish us all, that we all political parties apply the mechanism of using direct primary to pick up a better candidate for any political party.
Okay.
Let me react to that.
Yeah.
You said that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse becomes inevitable. I think the first question we should ask ourselves is, how should a political party be funded? You see, we don't get to the root of an issue. We just quickly want to start solving the problem at the top. What makes you a party member? What are the responsibilities of a party member? In the Nigeria context, is to cast his vote, which is the last. How should parties be funded? Question number one. Political party members should contribute, I said this earlier on, to funding the party. It sounds very hilarious because these are people who ordinarily are the ones looking for money. Then there should be a demonetization of the Nigeria political landscape. How do I mean? Why should I pay as much as 5 million to get a party nomination form? It's ridiculous.
But the parties also rely on such generations.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Why should campaigns be expensive? Let us ask ourselves basic questions. You see, sometimes we tend to want to theorize, we want to do research, groundbreaking research.
Meanwhile, Doctor, the expensiveness of campaigns is really not a problem with the political party.
It is, because listen,
for example,
how did money come into it?
Now, Dr. Ken, take for example, three of us were candidates of 3 political parties. Now, if you choose to print 100 billboards, and of course I choose to print only 10, I mean, it's because you have the financial muscle. So we can't.
That's what I'm saying. In developed clime, it is restricted. I was in a conference in the UK when this guy that resigned was contesting. What's his name? That came before the woman. And each time I went for a conference, before No. I mean the UK Prime Minister.
Okay.
Yeah. Each time I went for a conference, before I come, I would see a hand be in an envelope slipped under my room. Then in the evening, you will see debate going on. Then at coffee shop, you see small poster, because there is a law regulating it. Come on, let us just believe, oh, this is how Nigerians have done it. You should remain that way. What stops you from banning billboards as a country that means well? And say, no, you cannot spend more than 1 million naira, for instance. I'm not saying as a president, you should, if you are caught spending more than 1 million, you should be prompt. Come on, all this nonsense will reduce.
Well,
so it shouldn't be a party. Politics in Nigeria shouldn't be a contest of those who have it more should dominate those who do not have it in terms of finances. Rather, it should be a contest of ideas. I believe that ideas should be allowed to clash in the intellectual market.
Okay, Chris.
So that the distinct ones can be used for development.
Mr. Ken, you have said it's, we have to start from somewhere. We just have to start from somewhere. Those are good suggestions you've raised up here, and they are well salient. They are salient enough for we all to understand that where many Nigerians we see that yes, such things they are what we all need to adopt in Nigeria today. Well, you cannot deprive the people of what's already ongoing now. It has started.
I beg to differ. You see, that is where we shouldn't be thinking. Oh, we have done it this way. We should continue. What am I depriving them of? That they should be saner in their approach?
Dr. Ken, just let me make his point.
All right.
If such things, if we are bent on changing such things right now, then you need to start from us as the people. You see Nigeria of today. You see the moment a particular aspirant comes on board to flood the whole place with a placard and posters. We tend to say, this one is very popular. This person, at least, he has something to offer to the public. So that is where we, as people, we get it wrong already. You understand? So if truly such things can happen in Nigeria, then it will be a good one. But that alone, I don't think that can even influence the election. You understand? If truly you know what is on your mind, you know the credibility of somebody, then you know what you are. Then definitely you should know what you want to vote when the time comes for election. You know what? Like I have said, it all begins from the political party. Okay.
As we wrap up now, gentlemen, I am not a lawyer, but I do know that there's a part of our constitution that suggests that INEC, should monitor the funding of elections, electoral campaigns, and all that. Now, I think we also need to speak in this line quickly as we wrap up. Dr. Ken.
All right. again, we ask ourselves questions. Sorry, I will always start with questions.
Yeah, and answer the questions too.
Is INEC truly independent? But that would be a topic for another day. Now, how much power does INEC have over the executive? The executive is INEC's main master. Now, for instance, look at the budget that has been put before the table. So, INEC's independence is truly not the way it should be.
Yeah, but INEC
so
don't find
otherwise, for instance, I tell you, if the government of the day decides to spend any amount of money, INEC cannot challenge the government. That's the way it is skewed. It's not as if INEC chairman or INEC were corrupt. It's not like a tradition, which is wrong. Like you said, that's what is done in developed climes. There are amounts of money that you should spend that will lead to your disqualification. The body is invigorated. But in Nigeria, like you all know, instead of building strong institutions, we build strong individuals. And that is why, if you talk about INEC today, there is so much is said about Mahmoud, so much was said about Jega. But outside this country, so much is about the name of the institution, not the individual. Sometimes there are institutions I don't even know. I mean, there are individuals I don't even know heading such institutions. Yeah. But because of the fact that such institutions have been built and they are strong, they punish, not the individual punishing, not EFCC, Magu. When you talk about Magu now, it's like the name Magu is synonymous with EFCC. No, it should be EFCC. You could be there. You cannot, even when you find yourself there as a layman, you will see yourself aligning with the traditions and the laws that establish that body. So even if I am a corrupt person, when I find myself there, I will choose not to be corrupt because the system has a way of bringing me out and punish me for being corrupt. Why? Because it has been built and structured that way. But in Nigeria, who monitors? Nobody. We even had cases where INEC officials aided rigging of elections. They were challenged in court. I'm not the one saying it. Some have been convicted. So I think we should focus on cleansing the institutions and invigorate them instead of building individuals.
Let's begin to look at the solutions because we must also suggest solutions. So what do you think are the possible solutions to some of these things we have highlighted?
Well, from the beginning, it has always been 40 since the inception of independence. It has been 40, and these things up to date, they are still very much 40. Well, what we need to do, we need to have a government that is not corrupt, a government that can come on board to say, yes, this is what this is what we stand for. We stand to be incorruptible, you know, things like that. Because if a government is corrupt, then definitely you don't expect all those agencies that are under the government not to be corrupt, because they are it is all the same government, you know. So, well, as for Magu has been able to prove to us that yes, that things can actually be recovered in Nigeria. We definitely should be able to recover some funds, and that's what we have seen so far, you know. So it has to be from the presidency. If all these things want to change, from the presidency, things have to go downward. You understand? So in respect of expenditure, spending money, and all of that in campaigns. So those things really need to be checked. And how can they be checked? Just like the Constitution have said that EFCC should be able to check up all these things. It should come in place, but it's not coming in place because there are some the society is not favoring it for the now. You know, so I believe with time we should be able to get to such an extent where political parties and aspirants should know their boundary, their limits and boundary when it comes to spending money to the public, like, you know. So.
Okay. All right, Dr. Ken, when he mentioned Magu, I saw you shaking your head. Was that
not really. I have nothing against Magu. Rather, I have a lot with the central government because of its anti-corruption war that is negatively skewed. If you must fight corruption, it must be holistic. APC members cannot be saints, and only PDP members are corrupt.
When you say APC members,
no, APC members are saints. You know, once you are a PDP member, you are very corrupt. Once you decamp, you become
but we have even seen some APC members, even in Edo State, that were invited recently by EFCC.
What became of it? Is it because they are following the public narratives? They want to act as though they were working. Come on, we are Nigerians. We know what goes on. Are you getting it? Even the national chairman of the APC, were there an allegation? I'm not the one saying it. They were in the media. Before you say I should be circumspect. The allegations against him is be alleged in court.
The allegation,
has it been invited? No, I'm asking. Has it been invited for questioning? That we have until the vice president, who was active president, had to caution, because that cast a spell on his integrity as a senior advocate of Nigeria. That, come on, what is happening? If you decamp on a political party, DSS are in your house, AFCC freezes your account, like what you have in Benue State. Come on, are we in a banana republic?
But the court has.
So that's what I'm saying, because the active president had a moral body to redeem his name. A professor of law, a senior advocate of Nigeria, the president would have sacked a Lawa Daura. Come on, the almighty Daura was fired. Why? Because there was a political will. The lies telling, there was an interregnum for lies telling, because the president was away. Probably he couldn't be reached.
All right.
And the vice president, who was acted in good faith.
Okay. Now, so, you know, in respect to this very issue on ground now, allegation can be against any person. Allegation can be publicized publicly against any person, even against me. You understand? I've even had it before. You know. But when you say allegation, the people, they should be bold enough. When you are bold enough, you take this allegation to the appropriate authority.
They have done that.
And the appropriate authority, they will not seen evidence.
He has not been, he did not be inviting APC members.
We've not seen evidence that the allegation against the Adam Soshomole has been taken to the FCC. If truly it has been taken to them, why can't the FCC invite him? Where is the proof that the allegation has been against him taken to the EFCC? You don't just come on air and put forth allegation.
No,
we are not seeing. This is not the political platform. I can see where your leaning is. I am not a party member. See, you're a young man, talk like a young man, because this country belongs to you and me. We're not discussing the show, Molly. We are saying that there are allegations against him, and EFCC should invite him for questioning.
Yes, that's it. Take it to the appropriate.
He's not a superior Nigerian. He's like me.
He's just like every other person here. That's the truth.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Dr. Ken, thank you so much for joining us on this program today, and also extend the handshake to Mr. Chris. I understand you are from the Edo State Youth Council.
Yeah.
How is the Edo State Youth Council?
Well, at God's grace, we wish to go there and pilot the affairs credibly for the public and for the entire youth of Edo State.
Okay.
Come September.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much on that. And that's how we just wrap up the discussion segment now on this program, This Morning on ITV.